There's a quote from Candida, which has been kind of haunting me. We have no more right to consume wealth without producing it than we have the right to consume happiness without producing it. The story of Candida is a story of self-discovery, of 6 characters discovering themselves. In a way, it's a story of 6 children learning to become adults. It's the mythic quest that we all embark upon. And very often it requires the participation, the active participation of others. In this case, 6 people who come together on this one day and stimulate each other to begin this quest. It's very clever, and it was considered very modern at the time for Shaw. The idea that it all takes place in one day, that it is such a questing experience. It was considered so radical at the time that people didn't know how to produce it. The actors didn't know how to act it. This was his 5th play out of 65. He didn't sleep much. He just kept writing. I think Shaw isn't done more because when you read them and they're on the page, they don't jump off at you usually. It's when the actors are on their feet, they become alive, and the discoveries happen, the realizations. They realize that these are not just words that these characters have thought about and said before, that they're spontaneous realizations. And at those moments, yeah, it's true. I do feel the presence of the man. And it's fun. So we have the story about 6 people coming together, being candid with themselves and with each other, in some cases for the first time. It's where the title comes from. It's the whole concept of being honest, being candid, the purity of self-truth. One of my favorite quotes of his is, "Life isn't about finding yourself, life is about creating yourself," which, when I first heard it as a kid, I thought, well, this is astonishing because everybody I know is in therapy. But the idea of not digging into the past only for the answers, as he wrote his plays, but in questioning the present and facing the future. Shaw wanted to blow the dust off the concept of theater by letting the dust on the books really settle. The idea that the room that we walk into is lived in, that it's not tidy, that the lives are not tidy, that the social and theatrical conventions are messy, just as people are. No matter how we try to straighten our rooms, either literally or psychologically, there's always a mess. We're always having to clean up after ourselves. Yes, when Bush was reelected, it was a very frightening time, particularly for the media. Ted Koppel, simply for speaking out against the administration, for offering an opinion which did not adhere to what was considered safe at the time, was fired. Whether or not you're pro or against what the Bush administration was for is irrelevant to me. The point is, human rights were at stake. Well, I'll tell you personally, I long for the day when Shaw is no longer relevant. And I think he would be alarmed at how little has changed. They're the same struggles. I mean, women have the vote. But we're still suppressing our own progress. We do it against all people, men, women, blacks, whites, gays, bisexual, lesbians. All people deserve the right to make their own choices in life and have it goes beyond legal right, the humanist right to enjoy life as fully as anybody else. As I was examining Shaw's plays, it seemed to me that presenting all these plays about human rights would be my little ripple effect contribution. I didn't have money to make donations in a way that would seem really helpful. So I decided, I'm on the board of the Players Club in Manhattan, which was founded in 1888. It was the home of actor Edwin Booth, an extraordinary place. And the legend is that Shaw had visited there. It might be apocryphal, I don't know. I like the story, so I like to think it's true. I began presenting these performances of his plays with the idea that perhaps I could get through all 65, and they took off immediately. And people responded to what I was hoping they would, which is the amusingly presented message, the precepts. And it did turn into my mission. It all began out of that spark, that one. Finally I felt I'd had enough, so I began tilting at windmills. And I've been tilting, it's going on we're in our 6th year. Oh my God. I'd say the time flies, but I can feel all those years. It's one of the joys of being in the arts, of being in the theater, of any of the arts, that we know that we derive joy from the world around us, and we get to give back. We get to share our joy and create joy with others.
Thank you.